What we're going to take a look at here is how in Virtuoso, once you've authored your tests in natural language using live authoring, and you've executed this, whether via CI/CD, plans, or manually, then of course you get test reporting. So for example, in this case, we can look into the project activity and see that I've got a test which has failed. Now, I've gone ahead and put in a bug for this one just so we can see it really easily. Great. There's something that's failed, which we're assuming is a bug. Now, number one is, of course, anyone reviewing the test outputs. So a tester, or could be a business or a product owner who's coming in, can read through what was being tested. They can see the environment, they can see when it was run, and they can click and see screenshots for all of the interactions for what was being tested. So they can get the context. And they can clearly see as well that on this stage, there is something went wrong. So firstly, they've got immediate insights to be able to start saying, well, I can read the test, I can look at the screenshot, and I can see what was trying to be interacted with. Now, let's assume in this case that the element that we try to interact with is present, and this is indeed a bug. We're pretty sure that this should work. So now, what we could do is, in Virtuoso, we do get access to a root cause analysis, which tells us the target element couldn't be found in this case. But then we can also see things like the page source, so the DOM at the time the test was run, the page network, which gives us things like here we've got an XHR request that looks like it's in error, and we've got page console logs, which we could also drill into. So now we could bring in and actually say, well, this is a bug or an issue. Let's bring in, it could be a developer, an engineer, could be an SDET who can do some more sort of technical level review. And they look at this and say, well, the first thing I want to do, I want to play this again. And actually what I'd like to do is try and debug this. So what we can do actually here is, they can review these details, but then they could come back and see the journey on the goal view. And then what they can do is actually using Virtuoso's live authoring, when they press play, they get a personal bot, which they can run, and they can immediately pause this as they start going through. So at this step, they can pause. And what they also get access to is the DevTools through the advanced mode here. So they can come in and, for instance, as I play through, I might want to look into the network tab and look at all the fetch XHR as well as the console, and basically step through and see if using this, the developer, the SDET can start determining actually, is there something occurring at the network level? Or in this case, we can see actually in the console, we can see that there are some GET calls which are failing. We've got some errors coming back. So it just means you get this live debugging, being able to play through the test in Virtuoso, the journey, with a live browser and the DevTools all in one place. So that actually, without having to go through and trying to replicate this and do this all in separate places, just stepping through one point at a time and capturing all the issues means that debugging becomes much easier. So you could have a BA or a tester who's maybe more focused on manual testers, putting together the tests, running them. But then from a debugging side, this definitely is applicable for engineers, SDETs, developers, to be able to use this to figure out exactly what went wrong, including be able to run, maybe if this was run initially on a different environment, they could do so to replicate exactly where this was running, including being able to run with exactly the same data. For instance, if you've been using test data, or the test contains an API call which gets data, stores into a response, and then uses those to drive variables, just means you can rerun it, same environment, same data, with all the same testing steps without having to set anything up. But again, getting access into the DevTools to be able to inspect and debug to get this fixed really quickly.